Well, tomorrow marks the first 100 days of Donald Trump's second term, and even though it's not possible he may want a do-over, there are some polls that are showing very low approval numbers for the president.
Yeah, low enough for ABC News to declare on its website that these are the lowest 100-day approval ratings in 80 years. ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts joins us this morning from Washington to explain. So, Steve, is this primarily, if not all, about the economy?
Primarily, definitely. I mean, Donald Trump promised on day one that things would get better, and they haven't gotten better. And look, the single biggest reason Trump won was unhappiness with the economy. The price of gas and groceries, just for folks in Phoenix, everywhere else, was devastating to the Biden-Harris campaign. Well, now it's Trump's economy. It's not Biden's anymore. And that same sour mood, that same sense of negativity that was focused on Biden is now focused on Trump. 72% in our poll said they expect a recession. 73% said the economy in general was in bad shape. 53% said their own situation had gotten worse since Trump became president. So in some ways, he's the victim of his own overpromising. Remember all those comments on day one, things are going to get better. It's going to be easy. Well, it was never going to be easy. And Trump overpromised. And look, perception is reality. He can blame Joe Biden and for what he inherited. He can cheerlead and say price of eggs is coming down and things are getting better. But people don't feel that. And perception when it comes to the economy is reality. And right now, folks are still very gloomy about the economy. And increasingly, they're blaming Trump for their problems.
Is getting trade deals done and getting these tariffs to go away the only way that he can really right the ship? Does he need to hop on it?
Well, that's a good question because our polls show that people are very unhappy with his tariff policies and the whole way he's run the economy. But if what he promises happens, if he succeeds in forging good trade deals, if he succeeds in lowering the temperature, if he succeeds in restoring confidence, then things could get better. I mean, it's only 100 days. It's not as if this is deep into his presidency. But there's a larger problem beyond the economy. New York Times survey out this morning as well asked people to pick a word that described the Trump presidency. And by far and away, the top scorer was the word chaotic. Now, people didn't vote for chaos. They might have voted for change, but they didn't vote for chaos. They didn't vote for Elon Musk waving a chainsaw around Washington. They didn't vote for this sense of instability. They didn't vote for a feeling that this president doesn't quite know what he's doing and that he's going too far in some of his reforms. Trump kept saying, I have this huge mandate for change, but that's not really true. He got 49.8% of the popular vote. That is not an overwhelming mandate. And so it's not just the economy. It's a sense of concern that everything is always up for grabs every day with Donald Trump. But if he can restore a sense of stability, restore a sense of calm, restore a sense of confidence in his leadership, sure, there's plenty of room for these numbers to get better.
We are talking with ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts this morning about poll numbers that ABC News and several outlets are showing, the worst 100-day approval ratings for many, many presidents going back many decades. Steve, no president's excited to admit they got it wrong, but Trump is especially regret-averse. I don't even know if that's a term, but...
Oh, absolutely. That's a very good way to put it.
Could he help his case, though, if he announced tomorrow that he got some things wrong?
He'd never do it. What is the last time Donald Trump announced, I made a mistake? The answer is never, right? The answer is never. He's never backed down. He's never admitted a mistake. He's never turned a corner. That's just simply not in his political DNA. And that's part of his strength. That's part of the reason why he's been successful. He's such a determined and forceful figure. But there are two other things, there are two things that work for him in these polls. One is the weakness of the Democrats. it's not as if the Democrats present an organized and credible alternative to Donald Trump today. They don't. In our poll, we asked, who do you trust more to run things? And actually, people trusted Trump more by 37-30. The other factor here is that he continues to maintain enormously strong loyalties among his core supporters. In our poll, we asked Trump voters if any of them regret having voted for him, and only 6% said they regret. So despite these numbers, he maintains a very core base of loyal support within the Republican Party. And it's not just there's also the fear factor. Senator Murkowski of Alaska, Lisa Murkowski, who's one of the few Republicans who's been willing to defy Trump, said the other day, we're all scared, meaning we're all frightened of Trump's ability to punish his enemies. He's shown over and over and over again he's both willing and effective at exacting punishment if anybody gets out of line. One of the real questions here is, does that fear and that keep Republicans in line? Or do they start looking at these numbers? They start worrying about Trump's eroding base of support. They start worrying about whether these economic policies are going to affect their voters. One very good example are farm state senators. If Trump's tariff regimes really take hold, one of the sectors of the American economy that would be most affected is the farm economy, because they depend so heavily on exports, particularly to China.
ABC News political analyst Steve Roberts joining us this morning from Washington. And again, the polls are they're not great. However, the president's base has not really eroded.
No.
And it's just an interesting dichotomy.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.